let's be real for a minute. Nobody really enjoys lead generation, but it's something we all have to do. A constant supply of leads is what keeps our business growing. It's what keeps our business alive. I remember one of my first ever sales mentors said to me, Jordan, if you want to be successful in sales, the secret is you need to always have a warm, bubbling pile of leads in your pipeline at any one time. And that could not be truer. And I say that as someone that has scaled up 2 7-figure businesses. But I'm not gonna sit here and butter this up for you. Lead generation is time consuming and it's pretty monotonous, but it doesn't need to be difficult. In fact, it's very easy when you know the places to look. And it's also something you can very quickly outsource within your agency. But I'll touch on that later on in today's video. Today I'm gonna show you the best ways for you to generate leads for your agency right now. In fact, you can apply this to pretty much any business that you may run now or in the future. So let's jump onto the Mac and I'm gonna show you these strategies. So the first tool we have is the big G, is Google's. Now Google, of course, is the most popular search engine in the world. There really are not many companies out there that you cannot find using the platform. So if we're a new start agency, we're reaching out to local brick and mortar companies. Google is without a doubt one of the best places for you to lead gen. So let's say we are reaching out to tradesmen when we're starting out, maybe bricklayers. What we want to do is we want to go niche and then location. So restaurants, Norwich, or restaurants, London, wherever you're based. We're going to do bricklayers in Norwich. The first thing we're going to see is the Google Maps results. We're going to come back to this in a moment. These are really, really useful. But we're going to scroll down and actually see the Google search results, okay, based on SEO. These are going to be national companies on the first page, but these are great resources for us to actually find directories for the niche we are searching for. For example, with laborers, let's say bricklayers, for example, Gumtree, Yell, Checkered Trade, MyBuilder.com, Rated People, these are all directories for those individual niches. So straight away, we can see a whole bunch of different companies on Yell.com. Okay, we've got literally an endless amount of bricklayers here in the local area, and I can add these to my lead list on maybe Google Sheets or whatever CRM system we are using. So we can go through there and we can actually qualify those leads. Same again for Gumtree, we can see maybe actually Gumtree, there really isn't that many. We've only got about 4 results on there, but again, we can have a look at those. Checkertrade.com, this is a place where you can vet traders out there. So this is our industry, a great directory. MyBuilder, probably the same, and Rated People, the same principle there. We've got a whole bunch of leads. So make sure you check those national directories on the first page because they're a great place for you to find leads initially. But if we go over to maybe the third page of Google or the second page, we're going to start to see local companies ranking on the platform as well. So here we've got East Anglia Brickwork. Now, let's go back to Google Maps. So Google Maps is an exceptional place for you to find local businesses. Now, we've got all the bricklayers listed in the local area that are listed on Google Maps. They have to be registered with Google Maps to actually be on here, but many companies do, especially in this industry. If we click on any of these, so if we click on Abacus Brickwork, for example, we can hit the save button here and then actually add them to a lead list directly on Google. And we can come back and reference that later and then transfer them over to our actual lead list or CRM system. Now, just to show you, this is not just for that niche. We've got restaurants, okay. And if we zoom out here, we're going to see all the restaurants in the local area as well. Okay, so in the city centre here, we've got a whole bunch of restaurants. We can go through this list and we can add them to our lead list. So Google Maps is your friend with local brick and mortar companies. Make sure you use it. Another place to look is our trusty friend, Facebook. I don't know why I keep saying, why am I talking about friends? Google is your friend. Facebook is your friend. They're just platforms, right? And they're great. So let me just get myself logged in. We can use Facebook in the exact same way that we can use Google. Loads of companies are listed on the Facebook platform. So if we hit the search button on the left-hand side here and we go across and let's do the same principle, bricklayers, Norwich, we should, if we go down to pages, be able to find some companies. Okay, so we've got Gold Bricklaying, LJ Brickworks, bricklayers, DP Bricklaying, so on and so forth. You get the picture, okay? Add these to your list and qualify whether or not they are suitable for you. We can even search by location, okay? What I would also recommend you doing is checking Facebook groups. There are a whole bunch of groups on Facebook, millions upon millions of groups on Facebook that are niche specific to individual industries, right? So let's say we were doing bricklayers in Norwich. Do we have anything specific for that? No, but we do have tradesperson and services recommend, okay? So this is gonna be a group of a whole bunch of different companies who are in trade in Norwich or Norfolk. And I bet if we actually do tradesmen Norwich, we will find much better groups out there as well. Norfolk Trader, 3,600 people. Okay, we get the picture. Okay, now we can do this for any other industry as well. Dentists, UK maybe. We can also go just kind of national wide as well if we want to find kind of more companies, because the more niche we go, the less likely we are going to be able to find these big groups. So here we've got the Dentist UK, for dentists by dentists. We've got overseas dentists, UK dentists, dentists and Facebook. You get the picture, guys. Facebook groups are an exceptional place for us to be able to find a bunch of really warm leads for our agency when we're first starting out. But we have to be very tactical in the way that we use Facebook groups. We can't just join a group and start putting out loads of sales messages, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna get kicked straight out of that Facebook group by the admins. Many of these groups have rules where you're not actually allowed to sell in those groups at all. And so the key is to give without expecting anything back. Start building yourself as an authority in that industry inside of that group. So maybe put out a value post once a week. Just start off with that, something nice and light. Once a week in each of these groups, start putting out value to that audience, maybe giving them some marketing tips or responding to people's comments inside of that group. Just show yourself as a friendly face, and then make sure your Facebook profile is almost acting as somewhat of a funnel. It says exactly who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. Your bio needs to speak to that specific audience and tell them how you can help them. So something like, I help dentists get more Invisalign leads using paid Facebook ads. Okay, so who am I helping? What is the benefit? And how am I going to do that? So when we're putting out that value in these Facebook groups, people visit our profile, they can see who we are and what we do and how we can help them, and they're going to be more inclined to send us a message inbound. We can then add them to our lead list and we can sell them, arrange a meeting, and the rest is history. So Facebook groups are a great way for anybody in any industry to build authority, but make sure we give without expecting back. If you start DMing people, you're gonna get kicked out and banned from those groups, and they are resources that you might need in the future. So tread very, very lightly. So whilst we're on the note of Facebook, let's move on to another social media platform, their sister company, Instagram. So let me load that up on my mobile phone. This is something we can literally do whilst we are out and about. So we go on the Instagram app, go over to search. We can use Instagram in the same way that we would Facebook or Google. We can search, let's do gyms now. Gyms Norwich, okay? And we can find some companies, right? If we click on one of these companies and we go ahead and then follow them, we are gonna get prompted with the Instagram suggested feature. Okay, so what this now does is it actually suggests a whole bunch of pages which are actually similar to the page we just followed. Now, more often than not, these are companies which are similar to that page, right? Now, this isn't so effective for local brick and mortar companies. It's more effective when you're trying to reach out to e-commerce companies, companies that sell products online, okay? So if I just unfollow that page right now, and let's say I go, let's type in apparel, and let's try and find a clothing brand of some sort. Accounts, let's just click on any of these. Let me follow this page, Abandon Ship Apparel. Now we can see a whole bunch of different apparel companies, Thunder Apparel, okay? We've got Chillin' and Killin', okay? Loads of different leads that we can now reach out to, we can add to our list straight from Instagram Suggest. So I'd recommend you try and get out local brick and mortar. If not, hold this back for when you are ready. You've got enough case studies to reach out to online companies like e-commerce businesses. Instagram Suggest is a great hidden secret within this industry. Okay, so whilst we're on the note of e-commerce, if you're an established agency and you provide services to e-commerce businesses, you're struggling to generate leads right now, I've got a great hack for you guys today. I say established agency because if you're a new agency, don't even bother trying to reach out to e-com companies. You'll not have enough leverage, you'll screw up the outreach, and you'll just not be able to compete with a more established company. Just don't even bother wasting your time. You need to be an established company to be able to reach out to e-com companies. Now, finding ecom leads is a bit of a slog, but I do have a hack for you guys today, and that is myip.ms/browse/sites. Okay, so here we have a directory of a whole bunch of different websites online based on how much traffic they are getting to their website. And we can search these websites and filter them out based on where they are hosted. So if we scroll down and click this box and we go down to Shopify, okay? Shopify is the most popular e-commerce platform in the world. We hit search. We have 350,000 records, okay? And we can download this list in Excel or CSV format. Now, granted, this is not all the Shopify companies out there in the world, but this is plenty enough for you to get your teeth stuck into. But these are going to be massive companies on this database. We've got Fashion Nova, we've got Gymshark on here, okay? So we want to make sure we filter that list down further. And we can filter down based on the visitors per day. Now, there is no exact formula for exactly what you should filter this by. I would recommend you just kind of playing around with this yourself. But I would recommend something between 100 and 1,000 visitors a day, maybe 5,000 visitors a day if you're a more established agency. But if you're kind of just into e-commerce, 100 to 1,000 will be fine. We hit search. That's already got rid of almost 30,000 records, okay? Probably some of the bigger companies off here. And if we go down on this list, we can have a look whether some of these companies are actually suitable for us. So let's have a little look. Tracksuit Gang. If we click on that website and we take the actual link and we go ahead and search it. Cool. What have we got? What have we got? Premium Irish Streetwear. This looks like a good company, good price point. A little hack for you with ecom, we also want to make sure and just check whether they're running ads or not so we can use that in our sales call. If we scroll down on the page and we go on page transparency, see all, page is not currently running ads, okay? Great lead. If you're an ecom, you're an established agency, go reach out to these guys. Now we can also see on here how many visitors they're getting, around 1,000 visitors per day at the moment. And as I said, if we go back, we can actually export it in Excel or CSV format. So play around with the search facility on myip.ms and then export a lead list. And I would recommend you going through, spending a couple of hours, opening up every single website and checking whether or not these leads are actually qualified. This is called lead qualification. So go through and check those websites. Or if you're a more established agency and you're working with ecom, you can just outsource this process to somebody else on a website like Fiverr.com. Or as you're an established agency and you're gonna have some money, there's no point spending time doing this yourself. So I'd find a virtual assistant overseas to outsource the lead qualification process to instead. Sweet. So that's pretty much it for web-based lead generation. One thing I want to talk to you guys about though is networking. When you're first starting an agency or even as an established agency, networking is an incredibly powerful way for you to generate leads. Now granted, you're not generating leads in the conventional way, whereas you're going around speaking to people and writing down all their names in a database. What you're doing instead is simply building relationships with potential customers. Now at the start, I was unsure whether I even wanted to go. And to be honest, I was actually pretty nervous, but I forced myself there and I actually had a good time. I met a lot of local business owners, one of which ended up being a client of mine. It was a local jewelry store. And the thing I like about networking events, especially for beginners, is it's a great way for us to elevate ourselves and position ourselves on the same level as other business owners in the local area, even if we're only just getting started. Just think about this for a second. If I was to email that jewelry store and I was to send them a pitch, I was just going to be another person who was reaching out to them trying to sell them something. But because I was in this networking event, an event which is built for people to build rapport and get to know each other, I was sat in front of this lady and I was telling her what I do and who I help, okay? Now that struck something within her and she was interested in my service. I didn't pitch her in that meeting, I just arranged a meeting for later down the line. But I had a unique opportunity to build rapport with someone that I wouldn't have been able to have if I just sent an email over to them. So get stuck into networking events when you first start out. It's a great way for you to elevate yourself and position yourself to the same level as other local businesses. And that doesn't just stop when you're first starting out. In fact, my business partner in the agency, Joe, is going to a conference in Barcelona in Spain in literally 2 weeks' time, because it's a great place for us to find new, hot potential customers, the ideal customer. You can hand select the event based on who you are trying to reach out to. And you can skip the outreach stage and go straight to face-to-face meeting, okay? So do not think you're too big to go to networking events, because all you're doing is missing out on a lot of revenue and a lot of hot leads. The final thing I want to touch on today is outsourcing, because I think that all agencies should outsource lead generation as quickly as possible. Lead generation is a time-consuming but essential task. And as we're growing an agency, we're getting clients, we're fulfilling services, or we're managing our team, the last thing we want to do is be spending hours per day finding new potential customers. You can outsource lead generation for very cheap on websites like Fiverr.com. We've even built an in-house team over in India that generate leads for us, and you can pay as little as 30 cents a lead. Now, I've found the sweet spot is paying around 50 cents a lead, and therefore you're going to get somebody of a higher quality that understands the kind of lead that you want to generate. You might need to work around a few different people before you find someone perfectly suitable for your business, but I would recommend you outsourcing it as soon as you possibly can. It's a small investment that saves you a huge amount of time. Sweet. That's it for now. Cheers.